So yesterday we were given a bombshell of breaking news, and well, a majority of the community welcomed it with open arms. However, what does this mean for the Division 2 moving forward? And more importantly, what does this mean for the Division franchise as a whole? So in today's video, what we're going to do is we're going to analyze what happened yesterday, how this will impact the community, what you are going to be looking forward to, but also what are we going to be missing out on, what opportunities are now going to be gone, and we're going to be weighing both ends of the spectrum. So a little yin and a little yang, if you will. That way, we're not being overly positive about this, and we're not being overly negative. We're going to see it from both sides of the same coin. So, in other words, we're going to try to be as neutral as possible, but you know me. I'm just going to tell you like it is. All right, here we go. What's going on, YouTube? Kamikazevondoom here with another Division 2 video. So sit back, relax, grab that popcorn. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know what you think in the comments section below. And finally, shout out where you're from. It's always cool to see where everyone's from. Now, yesterday, we were given a bombshell. So to do that, let me jump over to Twitter, and we'll go ahead and just talk about this bombshell. And I'm going to pick out certain keywords, and then we're going to start elaborating on them and letting you know the full scope of what's actually going to happen. Now, I'm sure you've seen me and many others read this, but let's go through it one more time because I'm going to break this down and I'm going to give you pretty much a timeline of what's going on and what to look forward to. And then we'll start to dissect it and give you some more details and elaborate. So first and foremost, it says that after discussions with the team, they are reevaluating the seasons 2.0, and their goal is to progress without seasonal characters. That means the seasonal characters will be taken out of the game. Period. This isn't a what if scenario. It is, hey, we're changing up seasons. We're going to keep it on the same track that we're going, but we're taking out those seasonal characters. So the 5th character spot, remember they were talking about it's going to be a 5th character spot. It would be exclusive to that season. It would have its own inventory, its own stash. It would have all the new seasonal content on it. And during the intermission, then you could transfer whatever you got from that seasonal character over to your main character stash or whatever. So removing that seasonal character, you are removing that 5th character spot and removing that new seasonal server. Okay? Now, I'm trying to put emphasis on some of these keywords because I'm going to be elaborating on them a little bit more. So those seasonal servers are also not going to be a thing. All right? Now, it says here that the change will not impact the previously announced Year 6 plans, and we'll talk about those plans in a minute. However, it continues and says that this will require us to assess the changes necessary to the new seasonal experience. And that, my dear agents, is the entire purpose of this video. Because what is left after the removal of seasonal characters and after the removal of seasonal servers? What is actually left? So let's jump back over to the game and let's do a little deep dive. So jumping back into the game, let's talk about the roadmap, what to expect, and what we're actually going to be getting with Seasons 2. Now, I'm just going to be wandering throughout the open world. I'm not going to be doing anything special with this gameplay because it's all about this discussion, all right? So with that said, Seasons 2.0. It is roughly going to come out around end of September, early October timeframe. They have already said fall. We do not have an exact date, but the current timeline has us a little bit over 14 weeks out from right now would be Seasons 2. Now, with Seasons 2.0, without seasonal characters and without seasonal servers, what are we to expect? Well, the first question I know about half of you are wondering is PvP, right? So, what's going to happen with PvP? Well, we have conflict here, right? So, conflict is not going to be touched. It's going to be the exact same. They have already removed the shade levels and expertise. However, we all know that they have been working on and off with conflict, trying to figure out the spawn camping problems and several little bugs that are within the conflict PvP game mode. So conflict's getting absolutely no changes to it. And why? Well, with the Seasons 2.0, what this was going to do was this was going to give you a completely separate conflict server. So this would have made it to where you would play conflict PvP against only other seasonal characters. And I guess that would have limited... it wouldn't have done anything, to be honest. That kind of would have just made things worse for conflict. So conflict, out of the picture, right? So the conflict people don't give two craps. The next group of PvP people, if it's not conflict, it's going to be DZ. So we have our 3 dark zones here, right? So what would be the difference with Seasons 2.0? Well, with Seasons 2.0, what that would have done is given us a completely different White House, a completely different Washington, a completely different dark zone, because we would have been in a separate server for seasonal characters. Now, this was the only upside for PvP players who are currently bored with the current state of PvP in the Division 2. And that is, you would have essentially given us a new Rogue 29 type of feel for seasonal characters. Because currently, right now, in each of these 3 dark zones, you are able to use your level 40 character with all of your shade levels, with all of your expertise, no holds bar, right? It's the dark zone. It's the way it should be. Now, with the Seasons 2.0, what that would have done is it would have created a new set of dark zone servers dedicated to the seasonal characters. And that would have reset PvP for the dark zone in that specific area. Meaning, with seasonal characters, the way that they were describing it was we were not going to have expertise. We were not going to have access to the stash. We would not have access to materials. The only thing we would maybe have access to would be maybe blueprints, but that would be it. We would start each seasonal character from 1 all the way up to 40, blah, blah, blah. And this would have given the opportunity to have like a raw dark zone for seasonal characters, meaning everyone's on the same page no matter what, no expertise, everyone has to grind for their builds every single season. It would have been a more immersive PvP, in my opinion. And yes, with the seasonal characters being taken out, that also is taken out. So we will not be getting those separate servers. All right, so that's the first one, is I wanted to address the PvP part, because I know a lot of people were questioning that and kind of looking forward to that, especially in the Dark Zone part of PvP. But for me and all those conflict PvP people, it doesn't really make or break anything. It's all going to be, what we already have, because they removed shade levels and expertise from conflict a few patches back, so we're already used to those changes. So the next part is the stash, right? So the stash and the inventory. For the seasonal characters, we were supposed to... It was, I guess, their way of working around our stash and inventory problem. Now, with that being said, we can all remember that Yannick, during the Year 4 State of the Game, or Special Report, whatever they call it nowadays, he said and reiterated again and again that they are not able to increase the stash or the inventory because of the save files of each person. Basically, it's not cross-save, it's not cross-progression. They have so many save files and so much capacity for each of those files, and because of that they're not able to add more inventory or stash to each individual file, and instead they would be looking at a way to give us a separate stash or a separate inventory. That way we could access more inventory or stash space without adding it to those save files. And this seemed to be their answer to that, where what they were going to do is with this new seasonal character, it would put everyone on the same page and it would give you access to more inventory and stash, even though it didn't really make sense once you sat down and thought about it. Because why would I want access to all of that if I can't use it on my main character? And that's where all of these cards started to fall, because you already have a low player base. So then you're going to split up your low player base with the main character servers and then the seasonal servers. So you're already having low matchmaking time, high matchmaking times for certain activities, and then you're going to separate the community even further with these separate seasonal servers. So there were some upsides to it, but there were a lot of downsides to it because this game is so damn old. We're on year 6. This is year 6, season 1 right now. We are in year 6. So why would you do that in year 6 knowing that your community is already small as it is, and then you're going to break them up? You know, what if Bob and Steve work 40 hours a week and they can only play on the weekends? Well, Bob and Steve just want to play on their main characters while, I don't know, Chad, stupid Chad. If Chad is over there on his seasonal character having fun with all the new seasonal stuff, maybe Bob and Steve don't have time to do their seasonal stuff, and then they can't play together, they can't be in the same servers, they can't even enjoy the same content because of this, BS seasonal character that they're adding in year 6. So rightfully so, this split up the community. I completely agree. I think that removing this was a smart idea, but it leaves me with so many questions on what is going to be left. Looking at our current seasonal structure, okay? With Seasons 2.0 in mind, all that will do, you see this Hercules season activity right now, right? Instead of this being monthly, the way it's set up right now, right? So you'd have Echo 1 month, Hercules 1 month, Leto 1 month, and then Nyx 1 month, right? It's a 4-month, manhunt, whatever. Boom, you're done. Instead of this setup we have right now, they think it's too drawn out. It's too boring. So what they're going to do is they're going to split it up into 16 or 15 weekly objectives. So these are your monthly objectives. We're now going to get weekly objectives. That's the only difference as far as the Manhunts 2.0 within the Seasons 2.0. Instead of monthly manhunts, we're going to get weekly manhunts. And remember, they said they're not going to be manhunts, they're going to be called scouts. We're going to take on weekly scouts instead of a monthly manhunt. That's all it is. So with that in mind, looking back at this seasonal structure, we're still going to have leagues. We're still going to have global events. We're going to get weekly manhunts instead of monthly. That's it. That's it. So, what now, right? This is where the question lies. Are we happy with this? Because what now? Where's the content? Because these weekly things, they're probably just going to be little weekly bounties. Little weekly bounty takeovers. So before I start going into my questions that I just posted on Twitter, I'm going to just go over this map and just give you a few ideas of what should have happened. We should get a legendary open world global difficulty. All you would have to do is make the enemies tankier, hit harder, and add a non-respawn part to it. Pretty easy, right? Up the XP. Easy peasy. You don't even have to add White Tusk. We're sick of it. Everything every week is Black Tusk or White Tusk oriented. Just up the global difficulty to Legendary and just make everything a little bit harder and up the XP. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, right? That's just the open world. Descent. Add a freaking save point every 10 loops. Just 10 loops. That's it. Period. You don't have to do anything else. Just add a save point every 10 loops. How has this not been implemented already? Mind-boggling. It's because they don't care, obviously. And we all know that no one plays Descent. It is such a small percentage of people that play Descent. I was one of them because I wanted all the blueprints, but it is such a waste of time. The rewards aren't worth it. And to get all of the rewards, you have to get to loop 41. Name one person you know that's above loop 41 ever in Descent. Ever. I'll wait. It's just horrible. So Legendary open world difficulty. Add a save point every 10 loops in Descent. Right? Okay. Pretty simple. As far as the classified assignments, you need to fix the directives, and then you could up those to Legendary as well. Not only that, but you could make all of those side missions that you're trying to promote that no one can replay, you could make all of those side missions replayable. Weird, right? But they haven't done that yet. Make the side missions replayable. Put it up to Heroic or even Legendary. Again, you can do Legendary without White Tusk. Just up their damage, up their armor, up the XP, and bada bing, bada boom, you got Legendary. It's really not that freaking hard. I think that their tunnel vision is focused on certain aspects of the game, and they're not seeing the overall picture where they could easily just fix the game with what we got. Next up, right? Why not add to the Pentagon? You have a open world there. As soon as you fast travel to the library, you have an open world there. Same with Coney Island. You could add to Coney Island. You have an open world there that is not touched. Kinley College. Kinley College open and closes. It's like up for a week and down for like 2 weeks or some crap. Like it's not reliable, and it's not open all of the time to increase player base for this game mode. Why is it exclusive? Like right now, you can see in the top left screen, it says available for 2 more days, and then it's gone for a few weeks. Why? No one plays it. Who plays Kinley College? You said 4 years ago that you were going to rework Kinley College into like this zombies Resident Evil crossover, and never delivered. Never. Not only that, but after years and years, you're telling me that you guys couldn't bring it out? Why? Why not? This is a wasted opportunity that's already in the game. You already have the assets available to you. Just rework them and make it worth our while. Like, easily. Just make the chapel drop a random exotic every time you complete all 3 sections. And make it to where you could do that time and time again. It takes over an hour to complete all of Kinley College. So why not just make that a thing to where you could farm Kinley College? Add a few zombie aspects to it or whatever the hell you want. I don't even care. I don't even care for zombies. You can make it whatever you want. But rework Kinley College, make it to where the chapel keeps resetting every time you redo Kinley College. You could actually farm it and then get random exotics. But right now, you only get the diamond back. It is guaranteed. But you only get the diamond back, and that's after you waste an hour of your life playing a game mode that you're probably never going to play again. Again, wasted opportunity. The summit. What is going on with the summit? There is targeted loot available, but you get targeted loot in Countdown. Countdown is also faster, and Countdown gives you more loot. The only difference is that in Summit, you can get up to Legendary difficulty, but that's it. And mind you, the Summit's boring. Who still plays the Summit? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Do you still play the Summit? And if so, why? Why? Unless you're farming floor 100, why are you in the Summit? I want to know. So those are just aspects just in the game right now. I'm not even like giving you all of my ideas. That's just a few of them. Okay? Next up, let's talk about the freaking... Here, let me just get to it. Let's go to the recalibration library, all right? This is your expertise library, whatever they want to call it now. Your tinkering library, okay? Easily, how many talents do you think are wasted in the game? Just talking about backpack talents, let me just go through this really, really quick. No one uses Energized. No one uses Calculated. Who uses Protector? Who uses Leadership? Overclock? No, thank you. I mean, the list goes on. Composure? Probably not. Who's using these things? We could go to chess piece talents, all right? Going to chess piece talents. Who actually uses Tag Team? Who actually uses Explosive Delivery? Who actually uses Protected Reload? I mean, these are valid questions. Who actually uses Reassigned? Who? Tamper-proof? No. Entrench? Give me a break. These are so many talents that nobody is using. All right? And guess what? It doesn't stop there. No. Let's, if we want to get a little bit deeper into this, let's talk about some things at the crafting. Because there's a lot more here that is just wasted. And then they want to add more every single season. All right? So going to your crafting and looking at your gear sets, remember that with Project Resolve, they changed a lot of brand sets. They did not change a lot of gear sets. So a lot of gear sets are wasted. All right? Just going down this list, okay? Or actually, screw that. We'll start at the bottom. Why not? Let's see here. Rigor. Who uses Rigor? You could use Hardwired. You could use Empress International in a high-end build with the waveform holster. But why would you ever use this specific gear set when we already have Hardwired? Anybody, can anyone explain why this would be better than Hardwired? Please let me know, honestly. I have never done a build video on this gear set, and there's a reason. Because it's not good. At least not better than Hardwired. And if I'm going to use a gear set for skills, I'm going to go Hardwired. Why not rework this and make it worth it? Breaking Point. Breaking Point just came out. It just came out. But it is so situational. And it is only if you meet all of the conditions. You see this long paragraph of a talent? It's because you have to build up stacks. You have to maintain those stacks and then reload. You can only reload when you want to use the bonus. So it kind of messes you up. If you switch weapons, it reloads. If you run out of, bullets, obviously it's going to reload. It's a really bad gear set. I'm not going to lie. I'm not sugarcoating this. I thought this was horrible in the PTS, and this is the season that it just came out, and nobody is talking about this. Nobody has said, hey, Kamikaze, make a Breaking Point build. Nobody. And it's because this is just not a good gear set. But it was just added to the game, and therefore it's polluting our loot pools. It's making it to where our inventory and stash spaces are going to be even more limited. But why? It's because they needed to add something new for the season, but they didn't know which direction to go to, so they just start making these things up, and in reality, it's not better than what we have, so why would we use it? Just because it's new? I mean, yeah, some of these bonuses are stupid high, and they did that for a reason so that you would at least use it with, like, the ninja bike, but as far as the actual talent and the actual, use of this gear set, it's just so lackluster. No one's going to be talking about this next season. Nobody. Aces and eights. They reworked aces and eights, and hardly anyone uses it now. Not only that, but I, for one, am a big fan of Hot Shot. Hot Shot is a really good gear set for those marksman rifles. It really is. So why would I then go back to aces and eights? It does not make any sense. And it's been reworked so many times that it still is lackluster. It is. There's no point in using that. Just use Hot Shot. So there's another gear set that should be reworked. And the list goes on. Um, mm, I'll leave Ortiz alone. I'll leave Cavalier alone. Aegis. Holy crap. This thing was dead on arrival. It doesn't work in PvP, and in PvE, there's no sense of using it. Truly, there's not. Unless you're solo, I guess. But even then, all this does is increase your resistance. It's not helping you with damage. It's not helping you with any of that. It's just a targeting damage resistance build. It's such a bad talent, and it was such a horrible execution of a gear set. Nobody has been using this. And yet again, another gear set that I'm not making videos on because I'm never using this one. I might use it for the total armor, that 3-piece, 15%. That's pretty dirty. I like that. But again, the talent, come on. There is so much better out there. These are just some of the gear sets that I personally think could be reworked. And that's not even mentioning Division 1. Remember that they came out with Striker. Striker was a Division 1 gear set. Why not give us more Division 1 gear sets every season for an entire year? You could give us Final Measure. You could give us Reclaimer. You could give us Banshee. You could give us Nomad. And the list goes on. Like, do you know how awesome that would be? Is if for a whole year, all of the new gear would be like Division 1 but reworked into Division 2. Like, that would be so cool. How many people showed up just to get that Ninja Bike bag because they had it in the Division 1? They wanted to try it out. It's such a home run that they're just not even trying to look at. But all right. So we talked about open world stuff. We talked about missions. We talked about game modes. We talked about areas. We talked about talents. And we talked about gear sets that could all be fixed. All right. So now, finally, let's talk about the last discussion piece of this video. And that is back on Twitter. And as always, you can get all of this information and more on my Twitter page, X, if you nasty. So you can follow me over here at Kamikazevondoom. Remember, I share everything about the division, and I even give you my opinions. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, but hey, I'm only human. But regardless, you can find it all here on Twitter at Kamikazevondoom. And this is my last discussion piece, okay? So here are two different polls that I made on my YouTube channel. So this one was from a week ago, all right? Just under 2,000 votes. And I said, as of right now, who's ready for Seasons 2.0? We're just under 2 months away. And 2/3 said no, right? Now, this was before they said that they were removing seasonal characters. A lot of people were really upset about the seasonal character thing. Now, the only way that I would think that they could help out everyone with the seasonal character thing would be keep your main characters, but maybe add a seasonal server, I guess, to where you can manipulate the game with modifiers and things like that, but you could also keep your main character. I don't know how they would be able to do that, but in my opinion, that would be the only way to do that. And because they can't in the short amount of time that they have, they're just going to trash that entire idea altogether. Now, next is my poll that I did last night, right? So when I posted this, it was 15 hours old, and I said, with seasonal characters removed, what are your thoughts? And overwhelming, everyone is happy. Very small percentage. What is this? 18% out of 1,400 people. I mean, what is that? Like less than 150 people? No, hold on. That's about 150, right? Yeesh, 160. But still, at 1,400, come on, man. These people just wanted to try it because they wanted to try something new, and I completely agree. The whole new server aspect of it sounded okay, but I still like my main characters, and then you're going to separate all of those? Nah, man. I want more stash. I want more inventory. I want more content. So this is why I posted this tweet today. And I say the flip within the Division 2 is telling, but it begs these specific questions. What will Seasons 2.0 have in store for us now? Because with the removal of those seasonal servers, with the removal of seasonal characters, the only thing that remains is the changes to the manhunt, which instead of monthly, they'll be weekly, and then also adding a modifier that they have still yet to explain. The only thing I could think of, and I said this ever since they first announced it, is that if you remember global events in the Division 1, they had a global event modifier where it would affect the entire game, right? And it would be a modifier that was active during that entire time the global event was active. So that's where my mind was going, where during that season, you would have a seasonal modifier, which would be exclusive to that season, and it would be active for the entire game, but only for that season. So maybe pulling like old Division 1 directives out there, modifiers, maybe there would be like a shock modifier or like a headshot modifier or like a armor modifier. I remember in Division 1 they had a modifier where if you were constantly moving you had more armor, but if you were fixated or static in a certain spot you would have less armor. There were so many different modifiers they had in the Division 1 that did not really translate into the Division 2. So whenever I heard about modifiers, that was the first place my mind was going, but yet nothing from the developers. So that was my first question, is what will we see in Seasons 2.0 now that they have removed a big chunk of Seasons 2.0? Valid question. I'm happy that they removed the seasonal characters. I'm happy that I'll be able to do all the new stuff with my main character as I have always done. But what will we actually have once all of this other stuff is removed? The next question I have is, can we get a seasonal stash? Something. Like if they can't just add it into the game permanently, can they just like add it into a patch and then add another one into another, like how they do it, I'm not sure, but we need some sort of stash space increase or another stash somewhere. Maybe they could add a new stash, like specifically in like Coney Island or maybe the Pentagon, or maybe have a stash for like the Dark Zone or somewhere. But we need more space if they're just going to keep adding more gear every single season. Like it makes no sense to keep adding more and more and more gear, even though it's lackluster or not. You don't have the space to even have it. My next question is, DLC drop soon? Like with the seasonal characters and all this not coming to fruition, like what we're actually getting is going to be a watered down Seasons 2.0, and it's going to make the community pretty bored pretty quick. So my thought is why not push the DLC up and make everyone happy? Like literally, if they said, "Hey, here's Seasons 2.0, it's not much, but it's a little bit, but hey, the DLC is going to drop in 3 weeks or some crap," by all means, sign me up and I'm right there for it. We need more content. We need more content. I'll say it a third time. Please. We need more content. My next question: will PvP get a new New York City DZ? Meaning, PvP has gotten nothing for years. Years. Conflict and the Dark Zone has gotten nothing, no support for years. There have been little bitty balancing changes here and there for some gear and some weapons. There have been some glitches fixed, some bugs, attended to. But overall, the state of PvP is horrible, and they know it's horrible. They announced years ago that they did not have a PvP team, but they wanted to build up a PvP team with a PvP ETF and then get more changes to PvP. They even said that after Descent, we would get PvP changes. And yet, here we are a year later with no PvP changes. The only way in my mind that I can see them giving PvP any love is to just add a Dark Zone into New York. Just separate from the other three Dark Zones. Just make it to where, hey, you fast travel to the Haven, open up your map, and then all of a sudden you can fast travel to a DZ that's in New York City. Something separate, something new, with the exact same number of checkpoints or whatever you want. I don't know. But, we're still going to have to talk about the balancing and the checkpoint camping and the spawn camping and conflict. There's still a lot of problems in PvP. But I think adding another Dark Zone would really, really make people happy. It really would. And then finally, level 50. I know a lot of people are rolling their eyes and they're like, why the hell would you even say level 50? It's very simple. We need something to grind for. We need a level cap. We do. If they are trying to push this game another couple years into the Division 3 without the Division Heartland and with a questionable and doubt if it's even going to launch Division Resurgence at this point, what are we to do? Just to give you a little insight, all right? Here's a little insight. I'm in my game, right? Every single item I own is maxed out and expertised. I'm not joking. Every single item I own is maxed out with expertise. All of them. Every single item. Now, I know a lot of you might be, snickering and being like, nah, he can't be honest. That's not truthful. Watch. Look at this. Just look. Here's my stash. Let's go to mask. Look at this. Every single item. Maxed out and expertise. Oh, I'm missing a chill out mask. But it's because I don't use these chill out masks. But look at this. Everything. Everything. Every single item I have. See this? Gloves. Maxed out. Expertise. It's crazy. I'll add some gear in here that I think I don't have, but I already have it. Everything. It's ridiculous. Maxed out with expertise. And this is why I'm saying we need a level 50, because for veterans, we're bored. And with veteran PvP players, we're really bored. And with veteran PvE players, we have nothing to farm for. They already said that we're not getting a new incursion. They already said we're not getting a new raid. So what else can we go for? I would think have like a conversion table. You can convert, let's say, named items and exotics. Let's say not even named items, all right? I'll go even further. Just exotics. Let's have a conversion table to where just your exotics you can transfer from level 40 to 50, keep the expertise, keep the rolls. But all your other items you would have to then farm all the way up to level 50. I think that would keep the game busy for another year or two and then give us Division 3. I don't know. These are all my thoughts and more. I know it's a fire hose worth of information that I'm throwing at you. I'm sorry for that, but it's a lot of information to go over. That's why I typically go for the long form conversations and video formats because I want to give you all of the context and I want to give you all of the information that I have. That way you can see things the way I'm seeing them and you can see where I'm coming from. Because I'm here for the community, I want to see this franchise blossom. And as I do like that they are removing the whole seasonal character, I don't even think they should have done that in the first place. I think that they should have allocated resources in a smarter way. And in this video, I've already discussed multiple ways on how they could have done that. But then I leave you with this question. Are we happy with the Division 2 right now in 2024? I'm Kamikazevondoom. If you found this video helpful or informative in any way, shape, or form, hit that thumbs up. Please support the channel by subscribing and let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourself, all right? Peace out.